In this video, I talk about the insane ways the world is going to end, from creating a new Big Bang to disasters caused by nanotechnology. What if we created a new Big Bang by mistake, but it's going to be able to destroy the entire world?
Those are all theoretical. And how theoretical are you?
But first, we have to understand what happened right after the Big Bang itself, at the beginning of everything. It was a burst of accelerated expansion. This tiny thing that kept doubling in size over and over again, using the fact that energy from gravitational field is negative. So this tells us that there is no clear limit to when the doubling will stop. And the mass at the time was only 10 kilograms. If you're using empirical, this will be 22 pounds. So this tells us that if we could actually compress mass at a certain sufficient way, we'll be able to produce this Big Bang. This is actually fun to think about, but according to Fahy and Garth, this is not possible to actually destroy our own universe if we created a universe inside that particular universe. It's called the child universe theory. So that's not particularly possible because of the nature of non-Euclidean geometry. So this new universe is going to actually expand in its own space. So when we look at it, we look at this new universe that we just created, we'll only be able to see a tiny black hole, but inside it's something great to think about, because we think about what if our own universe was created like that by mistake in a lab or something, and then we have this deep blue space. Someone is observing us just as a black hole. But even themselves, if you go and read this particular paper that says it's impossible to actually destroy our own universe with a new universe, there is not a lot of certainty to it. These calculations they made, they are based on classical general theory of relativity. So we don't know what happens if you quantize that. So quantum mechanics is really unpredictable. So it's possible the world might end just because of a new Big Bang that we created in a lab. Number two, a disaster caused by nanotechnology. So for me, before I went into this journey to try and understand nanotechnology, I didn't know what it was, except for maybe seeing it in Iron Man and the Avengers. You know, nowadays, these movies, they make nanotechnology like it's some miracle tech. Everyone has nanotechnology that can heal you, that can do whatever. But what is it exactly? Technology means using complex machines in which the size of them are of a nanometer. But I don't know what a nanometer in empirical. Is it empirical, the US one? I'm not even sure. Comment below to tell me the scale they use in the US. Building them is the ability to manipulate individual atoms, right? Precisely, you have to be precise to actually make these atoms do what you want them to do. So this particular technology is a mixture of chemistry, liquid physics, and engineering, which doesn't make sense to me because Tony Stark is an engineer. Where does he know liquid physics and chemistry so he knows everything? Does Batman use nanotech? I have to check. But I'm curious if Batman uses nanotech. So Richard Feynman tried to propose how we can actually create this nanotechnology. You know, he's my guy. If you follow this channel, even the name is inspired by Richard Feynman. He said that in order for us to be able to create this nanotech, we have to be able to create tiny machines that will be able to create other tiny machines, a progression of tinier and tinier machines being created by other machines to reach a particular size that we need to help nanotech. So the Feynman way is not really enough for me. If I try to look at it, there's another way that's I think it's much better. This way is done by using a microelectronic industry with its photographically shrunk templates and computer-controlled cutting beams. So these are small lasers that can cut precisely towards one thing and make these perfect shapes that we need. Or we can use scanning tunneling electron microscopes that can be used to pull atoms into desired places. So chemists have been manipulating atoms ever since. I think that's their job, right? They try to use the fact that these atoms have self-assembly. If they're in contact together, they try to join up together. But for nanotechnology, we need to use weaker bonds such as hydrogen bonds. I don't know when this got to chemistry. This reminds me of chemistry classes where there's like 2,000 people in a lecture room and it's very hard. I don't like chemistry, so it was just a bad time for me. Physics is nice, 20 people. So hydrogen bonds are much better than chemical bonds for nanotechnology. So in the next couple of years, this self-assembly of atoms will be used or will lead to self-replication of atoms, which will make it necessary for nanotechnology. So J. von Neumann wrote and developed this general theory of self-replication for nanotechnology that you can go and read if you want to know more about self-replication. But you won't believe what the destruction of the world will be like using nanotechnology, so hold on a little bit. So the modern computer that we have right now, it's just the first step towards the nanocomputers that we need that will be a size of a bacteria. They will control very complicated construction tasks such as self-replication, right? So the speed and everything will lead towards this self-replication for nanotechnology. So the disasters from nanotechnology will happen in two ways. Number one, by sheer mistake. We'll make some stupid mistake that causes the entire world to be destroyed. But the one that's more interesting for me is number two. It's by people actually using germs for warfare. So imagine daily bacteria being used and being created using nanotechnology for warfare. So this might be better or best for military use. But what if these programmable computer control things goes out of control, right? So what will happen? So they will be able to destroy the entire world and be able to spread and self-replicate in a quick pace, quicker than the COVID. The COVID was nothing. Drexler, who wrote the book Engine of Creation, said if we can solve difficult problems regarding nanotechnologies, we should not even come close to building nanoreplicators capable of a runaway exponential growth or having the capability of evolving into a system that can pose a threat to human beings.